If you've been scrolling through endless videos of people getting smooth, cinematic footage with just a phone in hand, you're probably wondering whether the hype is worth the spend. You want something that won't wobble the moment you start walking, that actually makes your Instagram stories look less like a shaky home video and more like a mini-film, and you definitely don't want to drop $150 on a gadget that ends up gathering dust. The biggest hesitation most of us share is that we've tried a cheap handheld stabilizer before, only to be left with a clunky piece of plastic that never quite kept the phone level and required constant readjustments. That's why I spent a few days testing the DJI Osmo Mobile 8 Advanced Tracking Combo the way a real-world user would, setting it up at a birthday party, using it on a city bike, and even trying it for a quick vlog in a low-light kitchen. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the core promise. AI-powered subject tracking that reacts to sound and can add a light cue to keep the subject lit. In practice, that means you can point the gimbal at a friend who's walking toward the camera, tap Track on the app, and the Osmo follows them smoothly, even when they pause or change direction. The audio-triggered tracking is a subtle but handy feature. You can say, "Hey" or "clap," and the gimbal will lock onto the new source, which saved me a lot of time during a family reunion when kids were darting around. The built-in lighting panel is a small ring of LEDs that shines just enough to soften shadows on a face, making it useful for indoor vloggers who don't want to lug a separate light kit. For someone who makes content on the fly, these tools cut down on post-production fixes dramatically. What makes the Osmo 8 feel different from earlier models is the 360-degree horizontal rotation. Instead of fighting the gimbal's limited swing, you can spin the phone a full circle without the motor fighting back, which opens up creative shots like standing on a balcony and panning all the way around a city skyline. I tried it on a rooftop sunset shoot, and the transition from a wide cityscape to a close-up of a friend's silhouette was seamless. The rotation is smooth, but you do have to be mindful of the cable management. If the extension rod is extended while you're doing a full spin, the cable can snag on the motor housing. It's a small trade-off that most users will accept for the extra creative freedom. Now, let's talk practicality. The Osmo 8 comes with a built-in extension rod that doubles as a selfie stick and a tripod base. I used the tripod mode at a crowded market to get stable low-angle shots of stalls without having to carry a separate tripod. The grip feels balanced, and the rod folds neatly into the handle, so you're not adding another piece of gear to your bag. The battery life is impressive. A full charge gives you roughly 10 hours of shooting, and there's a USB-C port that can charge your phone at the same time. I was able to run a 3-hour live stream at a friend's wedding, and both the gimbal and my phone stayed powered throughout, which is a huge relief when you're relying on a single power source. Of course, no device is perfect. The Osmo 8 is optimized for phones up to a certain thickness and weight. If you push the limits with a large, heavy phone case, the motor has to work harder to stay level, and you'll notice a slight lag in the tracking response. The AI tracking works best in decent lighting while the audio cue helps in dim environments. The visual algorithm can lose confidence if the subject is backlit or moving through very dark areas. For a professional videographer who needs rock-solid tracking in any condition, a dedicated camera gimbal might still be the safer bet. Also, the extension rod, while convenient, isn't as rigid as a purpose-built selfie pole. A sudden jolt, like a bump on a bike, can cause a brief wobble before the stabilizer compensates. If you plan to mount the gimbal on a moving vehicle or use it for high-speed sports, you might find the correction a fraction too slow. So who should actually buy the DJI Osmo 8 Advanced Tracking Combo? If you're an aspiring content creator who shoots mostly on a smartphone, enjoys spontaneous filming like street interviews, family events, or quick travel vlogs, and wants a single device that handles stabilization, tracking, and a little extra lighting, this is a solid investment. The built-in tripod and extension rod eliminate the need for extra accessories, which keeps the total cost down compared to buying a separate gimbal, tripod, and lighting kit. It also fits nicely into a backpack or messenger bag, making it a good companion for weekend trips. Who should skip it? If you already own a professional DSLR or mirrorless camera with a dedicated 3-axis gimbal, or if your workflow revolves around high-speed action sports where you need the fastest possible response time,